Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama welcome everybody. Before we start our session, we always do these wonderful Mangalacharan prayers. And every time you read the Bhagavad Gita, you can go to page 1, and page 1 has these prayers. And these prayers are really, Mangal means auspicious, very, very good. We talk about gold and diamonds. These are our diamonds, these are spiritual diamonds. They really bring us some very good, good luck. And luck we need a lot of. So we can all recite together. If you're looking for it in the book, it'll be page 1 of the introduction. So, page 1 of the introduction. So literally page 1, introduction. Now, introduction. Find the introduction. That's it. You got it. Yeah, that's it. It's like 10 or so pages down. Okay. Om Jnanam Tinirandasya Jnanam Jarasaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Namutane Swayam Rupa Tadamayam Tadadi Swahatam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuto Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinavandhu, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopikanta, Radha Kanta, Namaste. This is particularly a very, very nice prayer. Prayer to Krishna. Karuna Sindhu, he is the ocean of mercy. Karuna means mercy, Sindhu, ocean. Dinavandhu. Dina Bandhu means you are the protector of the most fallen. Those who are down and out, which we are. He's our protector. Dina Bandhu. Jagatpate is the father of the whole universe. Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste. I offer my obeisances to you. It's a very beautiful prayer. And it's a very easy prayer to remember. The next prayer is a prayer to Radharani, the consort of Krishna, because she is extraordinarily compassionate and merciful. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhan Se Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. This prayer is offering our obeisances, our pranams to the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are very important. With the blessings of the devotees, we can make advancement in our spiritual life. It's not easy to go straight to the Lord, just like if you wanted to go to see the Prime Minister, you couldn't just knock on 10 Downing Street. You have to go through the secretary or whatever, secretary. So, in the same way, we can't approach God directly, but we can approach His devotees. And this prayer is pranams to devotees. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very good. So I wanted to do our usual, to go just around the room, making sure we know who everybody is. Just you can give your name. So.
I'm Lavanya.
Are you the mother of? I've got mine as well. Usually I don't have it covered, but so let's have it covered. Bhagavad Gita is very important, and our most of what's going to come today is from the Bhagavad Gita. So we've got various verses. So like last time, when you see a verse, if you like, you can go to it and you can read for that particular verse. I remember Satya last time read the Sanskrit as well. That was very nice. So if you like to read the Sanskrit, it's also in the English bit. You can read that. Okay. So today we're going to talk about values and culture. Now today I haven't got, I was saying to Venkat, I haven't got the printouts. But what I'd like to do is we can have a WhatsApp group with the workshops, and these things I can post onto that as PDFs, so you can have access to it. Probably saves paper as well. Sure. Yes. And printing. So values and culture, very, very important. Values distinguish us from animals who simply eat, sleep, mate, and defend. So if that's all we do in our lives, we simply eat, we simply sleep, we simply mate, we don't know about that, don't worry about that bit, and defend, if that's all we do, then how are we any different from the animals? What's the difference? If we have, yes, that is the difference. But if our consciousness is just focused around that, are we any different from the animals? No. We're not. We're exactly the same as the animals. But what distinguishes us are our values and our culture. And that's what I wanted to go through. Otherwise, we're regarded as two-legged animals. That's not, that's wrong. That's not in the Gita. This is actually a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it explains that if our, in fact, here it is, this is the Bhagavatam quote. Degraded men are actually no better than animals. The only difference is that animals have 4 legs, and such men have only 2. They are two-legged animalistic men. So that's the 599, that's right. That's the verse. There's another verse from the Hitopadesh. Both animals and humans share the activities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But the special property of the humans is that they are able to engage in spiritual life. Therefore, without spiritual life, humans are on the level of animals. So that's why it's so important to have these values and for parents to ingrain those values into their children from an early age, because that will give them some foundation. And that foundation will keep them safe for the whole of their lives. And you will have done your duty. Values equate, oops.
Some loose connection.
Oh, no. So while we're waiting, I just carry on. Values.
Had a question.
Yes, oh, of course. Yes.
He said if you have this human-animal distinction, why does in Hinduism the cow is sacred?
Yes. Okay. So why do we worship the cow? If we're thinking animals are degraded. even within the animal kingdom, there are different levels of animals. Like in the humans, there's different levels of humans. There's moral goodness, passion, ignorance. So even within the animal world, there are different levels of consciousness, even within the animals. So the cows are regarded to be in the mode of goodness, the highest level. Tigers, lions are regarded to be in the mode of passion. And monkeys, for whatever reason, are regarded to be in the mode of ignorance. So even within the animal kingdom, there's gradation. With the cow, why she's regarded as so special? One, she's special to Krishna. Krishna is a cowherd boy. By nature, that's his. Although he's the supreme personality of Godhead, his actual nature is that of a cowherd boy. So he loves cows. So cows are important. Other than that, cows give one of the most important foods for humans, the milk, which nourishes the body. And one of the Vedas, I can't remember which one now, states cow's milk is one, nourishing to the body, but secondly, it develops the brain tissues. So that's why she's regarded. And everything about the cow is special. Like urine is used as medicine. Cow dung is used as antiseptic. It's antiseptic. And in India, they cook with cow dung, or they plaster it on the wall. There was a news item this
morning.
Like
On the car.
the car.
Yeah.
Covered with cow dung.
Keep it cool.
To keep it cool.
Insects won't come.
Insects won't come. That's right. Every part of it, even her leather, of course we don't kill the cow, but if she naturally dies, you can even use the leather. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Hare Krishna. So, that's why cows are regarded as great. Now, I'll give you my own personal experience. Not this year, but last year, when I was at my spiritual master's Goshala. And he has about 70, 80 cows. And when you're near the cows, when you're chanting within the vicinity of the cows, it becomes so peaceful. They just transmit this incredible peacefulness. And it certainly helped my consciousness go towards God. So she's extraordinarily special personality. And that's one of the things about why Hindus don't eat beef. If they're going to eat something, they avoid eating beef. And one of the reasons is the consequences of eating beef are very disastrous. It is said, again in the scriptures, I haven't made this up, for every single hair on the cow's body that is killed for food, you have to come back as a cow and be killed. For every single hair on the body of the cow. How many hairs must there be on the body of a cow? Uncountable. So the karmic reaction is devastating. So whatever you do, that's one thing we have to completely Mr. Kibini side.
Shut down. It's fine. We're back.
Okay, sorry about that. So values equate to moral codes. common sense based around Dharma and applied universally. These are values which actually apply throughout, to everybody. We're going to focus on values and cultural encouraged by Sanathana Dharma to uplift our consciousness to a spiritual level. So, I'm going to focus on the 4 legs of Dharma, 4 pillars of Dharma. Does anybody know what these are? Or at least one of them maybe? 2 of them? Anybody want to have a guess? What do you think are the pillars of Dharma? Very important things that have to be in place for Dharma to exist in. What do you think? Yeah? Faith. Very good. Faith, yes. It's not one of them, but faith is very important.
Honesty.
Yes, truthfulness is one. Anything else? What else do you think? Yeah.
Devotion.
Yeah. That's definitely right throughout all of these. Anything else? What do you think is so important?
Satya.
Truth, yes. Truth, truthfulness. In fact, that's the only leg in Kali Yuga that stands.
Yes.
Everything else is pretty much destroyed.
Dharma. Oh.
Dharma is there.
Dharma.
Okay.
Integrity.
Daya. Mercy.
Daya,
Mercy. Mercy is very, very important. It's a pillar of Dharma. If we are kind, we'll get kindness back. Mercy equates to non-violence. So we'll go through that in some detail. Second is truthfulness. Yes, young man? Yeah, this is it. This is the one. Well done. Actually, no gambling, but yeah, no stealing included. Third one, cleanliness, purity. And that relates to no illicit relationships. And we'll talk in a little bit more detail later. Fourth one is austerity. And that equates to no intoxications. So these 4 pillars is what I wanted to center the values around. Now, why do we have to have these values? And values equates to restrictions. Isn't restrictions going to limit our freedom and enjoyment in this world? This is what the Bhagavad Gita has to say. 264. Who'd like to read that? Go on then, Krishna.
One who can control his senses by practicing the regulated principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord and thus become free from all attachment and aversion.
Satya, you'd like to read the Sanskrit?
Yeah. I'm just opening it.
Sanskrit's
is
always
there?
very good.
There you can see.
No, he reads
No,
the
just reading the
Hindi
Hindi
bit,
one.
the
Okay.
Devanagari script. Very good.
264.
Yeah.
See what it says here? One who can control his senses by practicing the regulated principles of freedom. Although these principles might look like they're restricting us from doing things, but actually they're principles of freedom. They give us freedom.
Ragadvesh vittestru Vishyaninendra Yenstrayan Atma Swev Videtyatma Prasadam Digachita.
Madhigati.
Very good, very good. This is why these rules and regulations, these values, are important. They actually will give us freedom. They're not meant to restrict us, but they actually give us freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from the suffering in this world. And nobody wants to suffer, right? Anybody want to suffer? But it comes anyway. Sometimes with a headache, stomach ache, leg ache. It comes automatically. You don't have to ask for suffering. But we want to not suffer. So these rules and values are very important. So the first pillar, let's go through that. Ahimsa paro dharma. Have you heard this? Ahimsa paro. Non-violence is the first
Dharma.
duty, religious, principle of religion. Very, very important, non-violence. It means inaction. So 1714, somebody like to dig that one out and read it. That means how we behave. We don't beat each other up. Unless, of course, it's just playing. Playing is fine. Yes. Okay, yes.
The savior of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord. The Brahman is a spiritual master and saviors like the father and mother. And in him live simplicity, spirit, celibacy, and non-violence.
Yes, austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord. The Brahmans, the spiritual master, superiors like the father and the mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. So this is Krishna's saying, austerity of the body, non-violence. Then the next verse is our words. So you can read 1750. Sanjana, introduction.
Is it? Yeah, so austerity of okay.
Yeah.
Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
Very good. So our non-violence and action words, and also in our thoughts. And if you look at 1716, which is the one after, that will be good enough. Who'd like to read that? Nandini, like to read that?
And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence, and the austerities of the mind.
Satisfaction. If we're satisfied, we're not going to be violent, we're not going to be angry. So that is austerity of the mind. So how does that relate to our everyday life? Yeah, this, many of you may not be vegetarian, so this is not intended to have a go at you. I'm just giving the Dharma of Ahimsa as it is. And because of the culture that you're brought up in, and perhaps the family traditions, you may be used to a certain type of diet. So I'm not saying to you that it's right or wrong. We're just presenting the scriptures as it is. It's very important that our diet is ahimsa. If we are causing harm to living entities for the sake of our tongues and our stomach, then actually there's karmic reactions for that. And they can be quite heavy, like the cow is so heavy. If one eats beef or gomata, we already explained the consequences are really heavy. In the scriptures, in the Banhu Samhita, there's a verse which says, it does allow the eating of goat. And you have to recite a verse into the ears of the goat. I will eat you in this life, and you can eat me in the next life. That's the meaning of the verse. I'll eat you this life, you eat me next life. And then you can kill a goat. Because you have understood the consequences of the action. Because in the next life you'll be a goat. You're going to be eaten by that man, that goat. Now, why does the Vedic scriptures allow meat? It allows it in a restricted way, in a way to actually uplift the person to understand that actually I'm killing you this life, you can kill me next life. Hang on a minute, that doesn't work for me. I don't want to come back as a goat to be killed by you. So naturally one will stop eating meat. Nowadays, meat is very easily accessible in the supermarkets, and we don't know the level of suffering that's gone into bringing that food to our plate, to our fridge. So we can almost ignore, unfortunately we ignore the cruelty that's taking place. But it's also important to understand that there's seven people in this process who all face the same reaction. One who kills the animal, that's one. One who delivers the animal. Number 3 is one who cooks the meat. Number 4 is one who eats the meat. 5, one who serves the meat. And there's 2 more, 6 and 7. All of those in that chain get the reaction of killing that animal. So you sometimes, I know family, mothers especially, they don't eat, but they cook the meat for the family members. Same consequence as if you're eating it. So we would recommend a vegetarian diet. No meat, no fish, no eggs. If it's possible. And it may be that you've been brought up in the culture of eating meat, but perhaps over a period of time, slowly, reduce the content of your meat diet. Because in any case, meat is not regarded to be a healthy diet. So if we want to live a healthy life, then we should make our choices accordingly. You can argue that plants also have life. Right? Plants also have life. So are we not committing sin by killing the plant?
Sorry. You okay?
So anybody want to read that verse? Yes.
If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it.
So this is Krishna's words, 926, Patram Pushpam Phalam Tvayam, is a really famous verse. Basically he says, if you offer me with love and devotion, piece of fruit, water, leaf, and what was the other? Flower. Those 4 things, I will accept it. So this is the license that we are given, that this is our food. Krishna will accept that food when it's offered to him with love. But plants still have life. Of course, when you are picking an apple from an apple tree, you're not actually engaged in any killing whatsoever. So that is really sattvic. That's really very, very good. All these different fruits and vegetables where you don't have to disturb any life. But you just pick up the tree or the plant and eat. Offer it to God and eat. Yes? Son? Yes, would you like to read? Come on then.
If one offers me with love and devotion of leaf and flower, a fruit or water, I will accept it.
Wow, let's get a round of applause. Your English is brilliant. Can you read the Sanskrit? Next week, okay? Very good, very good. Thank you for that. You could be my everyday reader. So, what the Lord advises, 3:13. You can find 3:13. Find it. If food is offered to God, then that food is released of any sin. And that we can eat without any consequences. So, who'd like to read that? You want to try? Okay. How about you guys? Oh, you would like to read? 3:30? Loud here.
Devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment rarely eat only sin.
So what Lord Krishna is advising, whatever we eat, whatever we cook, offer it to God. Of course, meat, fish, or eggs are outside of that. Cooking like vegetarian foods. Whatever we cook, offer it to God. Because those who offer the food to God are eating sinless food. Eating prasad, we call it prasad. That goes with everything we cook. In fact, even if you buy a packet of crisps from the shop, you open it up, and in your mind, if you're hungry there and then, or in your mind, you can just offer it to Krishna or God. My dear Lord, this is not ideal, but please accept this offer. I am very famous for drinking coconuts in, not very famous for, or I like rather, drinking coconuts, especially when we're in India. You know, they call it dab in Bengal and nariyal in Gujarat. So wherever we are, we get these coconuts. The man opens it up, and we're waiting. We are holding it. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. That's how we offer it. We think of the Lord before we dive in, and we effectively offer it. Any questions or comments, any challenges? I'm happy if you want to discuss anything.
I don't have a challenge, but just an observation.
Yes.
In different religions, how this whole thing is treated. Like in Islam, they have festivals where just for the goat, for example.
Right.
Goat eating.
Right.
And it's just quite a contrast. The philosophy is so different.
It's because Islam came in the Middle East at a time when the consciousness of the people was not at such a high level. They were actually very degraded. And what Muhammad did was he gave the scriptures in a way, gave the instruction in a way where he knew if he said, don't eat meat, fish or eggs, nobody's going to listen to that. So what he said was, okay, regulate what you eat. You want to eat meat? It should be halal meat. There should be absolutely no blood in the flesh of the body of the animal. No blood. That's actually not possible. That's not possible. You cannot take out all the blood from. So what they've tried to do, he made the rules strict. You can eat meat, no problem. But can't be any blood in it. And those who are strict Muslims, from all of the different traditions of Muslims, they are vegetarian because they know the halal can never be without any blood in the body of the animal. Yes.
So Gita, Lord Krishna was telling all these things to Arjuna in the first place, right? Was Arjuna vegetarian?
Yeah, as far as we understand, one thing they used to do was hunt the animals.
Yeah.
And Kshatriyas were allowed to hunt because that was one of the ways they used to train themselves. The animal would be, running here or whatever. And that's one of the ways that they used to practice their archery. But just because they were hunting doesn't mean they were not vegetarian. Why Lord Krishna spoke those words, especially the Patram Pushpam Puram, is to establish vegetarianism. That is the right standard. In terms of the devotees of the Lord, they don't eat flesh. They don't eat flesh. Yes.
During childhood, we were taught that in Hinduism you have different groups like Brahmin, Kshatriya, and
Yes.
various other things.
Yes.
What we were taught is certain groups, they don't need strength.
Right.
So they follow to the rule book. And then the other people, they need strength. And then they were allowed to eat.
meat to get the protein.
So is that still the understanding as a summary?
I see.
Or were there exceptions? Because these Vedic scripts were during Krishna, and at the time it's the same.
Yeah,
groups.
I think all of the Varnashram, vegetarian was very much still a strong aspect of all of the different Varnas. Even in terms of getting the protein, we have foods which have very high contents of protein, like the lentils, the dals, the masoor dal. They have very high level of protein within those foods. So you don't actually need meat to subsist and to be strong. And we know, practically speaking, there's many wrestlers and athletes who are vegetarian or vegan even now. And in fact, they say that their strength and stamina is increased because they're following this diet. So it's not necessarily the case that you need to have meat in order to have the bodily strength. Even the Sikh tradition, the prescribed foods are vegetarian. Even the Sikhs, and the Sikhs is like the military side of Hinduism.
Now, obviously, as you said, you have more knowledge and consciousness.
Yes.
But during those ages, probably the alternate ways of getting protein,
Possible.
it was not discussed. So people just listen to what the higher sects of the society will say.
Right.
So they just follow.
Right, and follow that, yeah. That's good. Yes, Malini.
Just wanted to add something. You just mentioned masoor dal. It's not accepted.
No.
Yes.
Vaishnavas don't take masoor dal because
No.
it's just too much protein.
And also like mushroom, garlic,
Mushroom, garlic, onions.
because it's a tamasi diet.
Right.
So although it's vegetarian, still
Yeah.
vegetarian, but we don't eat
I
that.
didn't mention that because I didn't want everybody walking out.
Right, masoor dal.
But yeah, Vaishnav diet excludes onion, garlic, because those are foods which are tamasic or rajasic modes in the, they put our consciousness in the lower modes. And, you know, it's like, I don't know if this is still the case, but a few years ago, there was one airline which stopped their pilots eating garlic 4 hours before flight. They were saying that garlic has an impact on the consciousness. I don't know if it's still the case. Yes, Marie.
So talking about vegetarian food then, and the fact that onions, for example, obviously in certain sects they don't eat, but offering vegetarian food to God with onions, again a no-no, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
is it?
It's
so
a
how-
no-no, yeah.
So then you're saying, so we are saying vegetarian, but it's not really vegetarian food that you cook in the house that you can offer to God.
Yeah, because if you're cooking with onions,
Yeah, if you're cooking with onions, then you can't offer that.
yeah, that's true.
So it's, yeah.
That's true. I didn't want to go into so much detail, but
Yeah, it can be controversial otherwise. People have different opinions, tastes, and
the Vaishnav
family.
traditions excludes onion garlic from diet altogether.
But before eating, if you say to God, I'm offering, does that work? Because it's onion food and you want to.
Let's put it this way. You offer it, it's up to him whether he takes it or not, accepts it or not. But ideally, we avoid onion garlic. And it's actually, we know people who for their whole lives have been eating onion garlic. There's one lady, just recently she was telling us, like a couple of years ago, I'll never give it up, never. Don't even tell me. And last week we was talking to her, oh yeah, I don't even like the taste of onion garlic now. There's so many alternatives. Hing, ginger, these are all very healthy alternatives to onion garlic. Yes.
In Swaminarayan
Yes.
sect, they don't even take hing because it smells
Right.
like a little bit of garlic.
Right. No, hing is fine because hing is from the Vaishnava or Ayurvedic point of view
Yeah.
good for the health anyway. Okay, anything else? Hope I didn't ruffle any feathers.
Okay, what
I think he's just picking me up on this, because we're not supposed to sort any birds out, right? Okay. It's very smart, huh? Okay, so that's mercy. There's a lot more to add, but this is one of the values. So maybe those who are young, you can sort of, the parents could gear them, bring them up. Okay, you are young. You may try to look tall, but you're still young. And stay young forever. Okay? You don't want to grow old like me. So you may want to bring them to this sort of diet. And that will help the whole family, because you'll all go towards that diet. Otherwise it's heavy karma. And there's so many other things about meat eating which is wrong, because just to produce 1 kilo of meat takes so much resources. And producing just grains is so much cheaper. You can feed the whole world just by a little bit of America. The area of America, a little bit of it, the size of it. Just grow grains there and feed the whole world. Truthfulness, the next pillar of Dharma. Satya is a universal truth. And this is almost very common sense stuff. The last leg standing for Dharma in Kali Yuga is truthfulness. Everything else has been pretty much destroyed in this world. And Bhagavad Gita 17:15 again, it's one of the austerities of speech, is to tell the truth. Truth, honesty. Right? And one of the things that's discouraged, and this is probably more geared to the adults, is gambling. And gambling can not just be the cards or the roulette machines in the fun fair or the casinos, but it also includes trying to get something for nothing. Lottery, buying tickets in the lottery. We're trying to get something for nothing. That's against the principle of truthfulness. Stock market, speculation. Investment may be classified a little bit differently because you're doing some research. But just speculating on the stock exchange, currency markets, that all is regarded in the classification of gambling, which is regarded as against truthfulness, because you're trying to get something for nothing. We know the example of Yudhishthir in Mahabharata. He was Dharamraj, but he was a Kshatriya as well. And Kshatriya warriors, they were actually allowed to gamble. They were allowed to gamble. Only if they were challenged. Because they could never resist a challenge. The dharma was, anybody challenges you, you face them. So sometimes there will be gambling challenges.
Yeah, it all depends on the reason, right? Why you're gambling.
Yes.
Yeah, there might be some, different reason to save someone. Save
Yeah,
land, save
that's
property,
correct.
save
That's
people.
correct.
Yeah, so it will classify.
Yeah, the consciousness
reason for
behind it
gambling.
might be important.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, gambling is wrong. So in the case of Yudhishthir, he was challenged to a gambling match with Duryodhana. And he could not say no. And the consequences were disastrous. He lost everything, including his wife. So this is one thing we avoid doing, gambling. There are sometimes higher principles. Satya is definitely a dharma, but sometimes there can be a higher dharma, higher than truthfulness. So this might be a little surprising. What is he talking about? How can there be anything higher than truth? Well, Krishna is the ultimate absolute truth. And there is an example again of Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata of truthfulness and how there was a higher principle of dharma, which meant that a lie had to be spoken. And that lie was not an untruth from a dharmic point of view. So there was Yudhishthira had a guru. What was the guru's name? Dronacharya, who was very powerful. And in the war, it was impossible to kill Dronacharya because he was very powerful. So Krishna said to Yudhishthira, the only way we can defeat Dronacharya is if we tell him that his son Ashwatthama is dead. Ashwatthama. And Yudhishthira said, no, we should not lie. And Krishna said to him, not just that we have to tell Dronacharya that his son is dead, you have to tell him. And Yudhishthira was taken aback. What? I've never spoken a lie in my whole life, Krishna. And Krishna said to him, if you don't do this, you will be defeated. So you have to shout to Dronacharya that his son is dead. So Yudhishthira asked Bhima, there's an elephant called Ashwatthama, go and kill the elephant. So Bhima killed the elephant. And Yudhishthira shouted, Ashwatthama is dead, in the hearing space of Dronacharya. Dronacharya heard and he asked Yudhishthira, is this true? Is my son dead? Ashwatthama? Then he whispered, the elephant is dead. So even then he stuck to his principle of truthfulness, which is a noble quality. But when the absolute truth is right in front of you, Krishna, following the order of Krishna is more important than any other dharma, even if it's a lie, so-called lie. So what happened at Yudhishthira's chariot after that? It was always 6 or 8 inches above the ground because he was such a pious person. But after that incident, his chariot went on the ground. And there are many commentators who differ why the chariot went down on the ground. Some say he told a lie, but actually, according to the Vaishnava commentators, it's because he defied Krishna. I cannot lie. When the absolute truth is right in front of you, telling you to do something, that following that order is more important than anything. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. Any comments on this, truthfulness? Oh, any points or any doubts? This is a very important value. Yes.
Again, I'm talking about children. So obviously
Yes.
these are the scripts. At their age, it's very easy for them to just do small little lies. Like if you ask something,
Yeah.
they just, in their immediate reaction is, I didn't do it. They didn't intend to lie, but
This comes out.
this comes out. How can they check themselves in practice
Yes.
at that age?
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. Did you hear that? You guys? Sometimes. Have you done your homework? Yes! When you're sitting in front of the telly or the Game Boy. So it's very important actually. Yes, Lauren.
I read somewhere that in our, I think it's a Bhagavatam or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that there are 4 situations in which somebody is allowed to tell a lie, and that is okay. And I don't remember those 4 situations,
Yeah.
but I have read it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll come to that. But for children, try not to say any lies. Just be honest. And your parents are very loving. Your teachers are also very loving. So sometimes you may make a mistake. You can just say, sorry, made a mistake. I won't do it again. And then don't do it again. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah? What truthfulness does, it makes you very strong. Very, very strong in your mental capacity. Because you have nothing to fear. No worries. So sometimes, like Mataji was saying, if the situation is a struggle, and hide. And this person says, you can go and hide in the shed here. And those people who are chasing that man they come and they ask, have you seen that man anywhere? In that situation, if you tell the truth, you are going to lead that person to be hurt. So in certain situations, you don't have to, where it's going to be very hurtful to somebody else, that you don't tell them the truth, that person. Sometimes even when we speak a truth and it's very harsh feedback, just try to say it in a palatable way, in a nice way. Mom, I didn't like your cooking, it was terrible. That's not good. That's not good. That's hurt. Mom, maybe, did you try that recipe from the Hare Krishna cookbook? It'll be a bit more subtle. It's not that we're trying to hide, it's just we don't want to hurt others' feelings. Yes?
It's quite a challenge, isn't it? If you tell a lie because it is for the good of someone, then it is probably right. But what is good to you might not be good to someone else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
saying that truth for you might be the right thing, but it might not be for that person who's coming looking for that other person who you have just given protection. So
Yeah, that's why you don't say the truth at that time. You don't have to. You don't have to. Well, oh yeah, he's hiding in the shed. No. He went this way. He went in the other direction. Because you don't want that person to be harmed. Of course, if it's a criminal who's running from the police, then you would say, oh yeah, he's in the shed. Different situation. You have to judge the situation. Like you this thing. He had to make judgment. Do I follow what Krishna said? Or do I tell the truth? He had to make a choice. It's not an exact science. There are grey areas in these areas, all of these areas. Like you were saying about
Yeah, it's
The-
the mutual consciousness, right?
Yeah.
That's what decides
yeah.
what's your fate, because how you're deciding on each situation.
Yeah.
So no one can write it and give it to you, right? Because situations are different. To some extent, yes, broad, but then
Yeah.
every situation.
There are
is
principles, and then
Yeah,
we
just
have
use
to-
the principles
Yeah.
and then take your.
Yeah, use the principles to guide our life, but we also have to use our common sense.
Common sense and consciousness.
Sorry, please. Yes, young lady.
So yesterday I was watching Ramayana.
Okay.
Basically there was a war between the demons and the gods.
Oh yeah.
She took in the demons into her home, but she knew they were demons. But you said that she was a criminal and he.
Demons are not always criminals. I know they usually fight with the demigods. It depends why she did that. I can't remember the specific
it's
story.
interesting because she protected them and told the gods that
They don't hear.
you dare not come and kill them because they were there to kill them. And actually in the process she actually got killed by Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu got a curse as a result of that. But that's the story. But the point is she was protecting the demons against God, who is supposed to be the most powerful. And
Yeah.
So it's
That's probably a lila,
Yeah.
a special sort of episode episode that took place between Divya and the Lord. And of course, whoever the Lord kills is liberated. Nothing the Lord can do is ever bad. So, sometimes it's difficult to understand specific things that happen. Yes?
I suppose kind of similar question in a way, but so with the whole karmic reaction of whatever judgment you make, if your intention, say with the shed thing, would be like...
I forgot to tell you, it's early. Sorry.
If the intention when you're saying, oh, he's not in the shed, was not to harm the person in the shed, but later on you find out, say, that actually the person in the shed was a criminal, but you didn't know that at the time, would your karmic reaction be affected by that judgment? Because based on all the knowledge you
Right.
knew, you were not causing any harm,
Right.
like the least amount of harm that you could.
That's a good question. Karma is a difficult thing to analyze. A lot of it is intention, a lot of it is judgment. So, if we do an act and we're doing it in good faith, usually the karma will have, if we got it wrong, there won't be much of a reaction. As long as we are acting in good faith. That's important. Did you have a question? Okay.
I think you should leave it to the God or you should pray God that
To guide.
this is done and please take care of it. And you should try to remove it from your consciousness so that it won't come back again and trouble you.
Right.
So it is the way you manage or handle it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Surrender to the Lord will guide.
Because you don't know what's happening all around.
Yeah,
It is like you're seeing from your point of view.
that's a good point. That's a good point. So that's second. Let's go into cleanliness. Now, cleanliness is about purity. This is where we want to try to improve our consciousness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Have you heard that saying? It's a very common saying. So there's the daily routine, the purity of the body. So one thing that's important, after we sleep, we shower. We go to the loo, evacuate whatever, and then we shower. That's very important. Sometimes in this tradition, this culture, this English culture, some people may not bathe every day, or may bathe once a week. But actually, we should keep ourselves clean. And it's a little bit more than that as well. When we go for number 2, does everybody know what number 2 is? When we poo, it's recommended that we should have a shower before we eat. So that's to improve our consciousness, keep ourselves clean. There may be some unavoidable situations, and there's some mantras which we can learn, which actually helps us purify the body as well. No boyfriend, no girlfriend. Especially for the married ones. One of the things about cleanliness, or purity, is relationships with the other sex. And I think, especially for the youngsters here, it's important to have a celibate life. Celibate means you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And when somebody wants to get married, that's the time when you have a relationship with the opposite sex. No relationship outside of marriage. This is a very important principle of purity and Sanathana Dharma. Of course, in the Western culture, boyfriend-girlfriend is a very common practice. It's very, very dangerous. It's said that if we can preserve the semen, from the men's point of view, within our bodies, that semen is so powerful. It takes so much to produce just a little bit of semen. So if we lose it, we actually lose a lot of the value of this body. And that also impacts the brain. Intelligence is increased when we retain, when we are celibate. So this is something you guys should watch out for. Huh?
I always struggle with this one when we say this, and then lots of gods and Krishna, they have multiple
Lots of what?
and they have multiple wives, and then wherever he went, he found one. Throughout my life, I struggled to understand that bit. I can see the benefits, but what we see is different in different cultures.
Yeah, I mean, in Krishna's case, there's a common argument that, hey, how come he had so many wives? 16,108. Thank you. 16,100 wives. Whoa!
When we can't handle one.
One's a struggle. And the wife saying, whoa. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He did not come here necessarily to restrict the enjoyment of his devotees. He satisfied everybody's desire. Ramachandra, who is regarded as Maryadana Purushottam, he came, he took a vow, one wife, and he never strayed from that principle. Even when Sita was taken to the forest second time, Lakshman was told to leave her in the forest. Some people accuse Ram, why did he do that? But he never took another wife. In fact, he made a murti of Sita who he would place next to him when they were doing any ceremonies. So the example to follow for boyfriend girlfriend is Ramachandra. He set the standard for how one should behave in a family situation. Krishna's role was different. When he came to this planet, when Ram was there, 16,000 sages came to him and said, we want to have conjugal pastimes with you. That's our desire in our heart. And Ram said, in this incarnation, I've taken a vow of one wife. But when I come as Krishna, I will fulfill all your desires. So those 16,000 sages came as wives of Krishna, and he fulfilled their desires. Krishna did not care for any particular rules of society, because he makes the rules. He's in charge of the rules. But what he wanted to care about was he wanted to satisfy the desires of his devotees. That was the principal reason why Krishna came to this world, to please his devotees. It doesn't mean we act like him. As you said, even more than one wife. Even one wife is tough. But we can go into a lot more detail as to why. My spiritual master had a lot of reasons why Krishna is allowed to do that. He is the ultimate Purush, the male potency. Everybody else is Prakriti. He is the enjoyer, everybody else is enjoyed. He's allowed. But he doesn't do it for himself. He's always self-satisfied. He does it to please his devotees. Oh yes, if you can just dig out that 7-Eleven. Oh, examples of Lakshman. How long were they in the forest? Does anybody know? Yes. 14 years. Very good. When was Sita kidnapped? Do you remember when she was kidnapped?
Year 13.
When was she kidnapped? What year? 13. End of the 13th year. When she was kidnapped, Hanuman came to serve Ram and Lakshmana. And Hanuman asked, because Hanuman said, I can help you find Sita, because Ram was distraught, as was Lakshmana. So Hanuman said, what does she look like? To Lakshmana, he asked. Lakshmana said, I don't know. Ram said to Lakshmana, you don't know what Sita looks like? No. I don't know what she looks like. Why? I've never looked her in the face. I only looked at her lotus feet. I can tell you what her feet look like. If that's any good. But this was the example set by Lakshmana. He regarded Sita as his mother, as Ram's wife. So he never even looked at her face. We're not saying don't look at faces, but the point of principle is we shouldn't look at another male or female with lusty desires. So what is 7-Eleven? I can't remember. Who'd like to read it?
I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of Bharatas, Arjuna.
That's the one. Krishna says in this verse that I am sex life not contrary to religious principles. So when we get married and have children, that's acceptable. Any sex life, even during marriage, which is outside of procreation of children, actually is against religion. That's quite heavy. That's quite heavy. Purity of mind. Ah, yes. This is quite interesting. Purity of mind. 60,000 thoughts go through our head every single day, on average. 60,000 thoughts. You probably have a few more than that, young man, because you're so clever. But most of these thoughts are negative. They usually, somebody's done something wrong to me, I've been treated badly, I haven't been given proper respect, this person doesn't like me. Thoughts are like that. Now those thoughts actually will degrade our consciousness. Negative thoughts will bring us down. So when a negative thought comes into our mind, we have to turn it into a positive thought. But not just positive. We have to turn it into a Krishna conscious thought. That's a challenge. Somebody's done wrong to me. So I tell you what happened yesterday. One man promised to come to do a satsang, and he's now backed out of it. And that's quite upsetting, because we're looking forward to this. So how do we convert that thought process, negative thought process, into a positive or Krishna conscious thought? The way we would do that, for example, would be, okay, it's not in my luck, it's not in my good karma yet to have the association of this person. But I will do so, so I will get stronger. I will become more God conscious. That's turning negative into Krishna conscious thought. Somebody's done some harm to me. Actually, the Krishna conscious thought is, my dear Lord, thank you. I'm grateful for that to happen. My karma is finished. That person has harmed me. I won't have to suffer that harm again. Or it may be, this world is full of suffering. Thank you for showing me that this world is not for us. It's not for gentlemen. Or another thought could be, thank you, my dear Lord, for letting me be humble. I've been humbled by that person. Thank you for letting me be humble. That way we're converting that negative nasty thought into a Krishna conscious thought. That way we are converting our consciousness from negative to positive. Does that make sense? So when negative thoughts come into our mind, straight away recognize it. Oh, hang on. Put a barrier up. No, you can't come into my mind. Stay where you are. Instead, we're going to put a positive or a Krishna conscious angle to it. So 6, 5 and 6, 6. There's something you have to read? Maybe Venkat, you need to read?
One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friendly, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy.
So, see, the power of the mind can be our very best friend if it's controlled, or our worst enemy if it's not controlled. In one session we can do on the mind, how to control it, and how to recognize when it's out of control. Cultivate seeing positive qualities in others. Dronacharya asked Duryodhana, go and find somebody who's better than you. Better than you, yeah. And at the same time he asked Yudhishthira, go and find somebody who's worse than you. So Duryodhana went in the Hastinapur, looking, who's better than me, who's better than me, who's better than me. He came back to Dronacharya and said, I can't find anybody. I'm the best. So Yudhishthira was asked the other question. Find somebody worse than you. And he was looking, and he was thinking, no, they're all better than me. Everyone's better than me. He found a thief, and that thief took money from another person, but he bought the food for the family. And he was even thinking, that thief is even better than me because he's using that money to feed others. So Yudhishthira's qualities were completely different. He saw good in everyone. And my spiritual master, he was similar. He used to say, if there's 100 bad qualities in somebody and there's one good quality, look at the one good quality. Don't look at the 100 bad. So try to cultivate seeing positive qualities. So Yudhishthira went back to Dronacharya and said, I found nobody better than me. I found nobody worse than me. I'm the worst. Very powerful. And very uplifting for the consciousness. Okay, we're going to have to be quick because I want to finish in 10 minutes. And I was hoping we'd do a demonstration of Aarti before I show you. You'd like it. Austerities, no intoxications. There's 3 types of happiness. If you go to the Gita, 1836 to 38, and one person can just read it out loud. So again, this might be something that you're used to, perhaps the elders in this room, having a little swig now and then. But alcohol is actually not good. Yes, go on, read. Louder.
O best authorities, now please hear from me about 3 kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress.
Okay.
A conditioned
No, 37.
that happiness which is derived from contact with the senses, with the objects, and which appears like nectar at
Yeah, there's one more, 37.
Same page top.
Yeah, the same page.
top.
That which is.
That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness.
Good. So there's three types of happiness. One, something that's poison in the beginning, but turns into nectar at the end. And the example of that is you're trying to follow these principles, these values, the truthfulness, the austerity, cleanliness, purity. Following those, it can be hard in the beginning. Always telling the truth, it's very hard. But it'll turn into nectar in the end because your character is building. Chanting Hare Krishna. It's so hard, right, Rupa? It's poison. My God, do I have to chant? Keep falling asleep. Want to watch the telly, chant at the same time, read, chant at the same time. But if you do it properly, it may be a little hard in the beginning, but it'll turn into nectar. Nectar. What's nectar? Honey. Sweets. Cakes. Mom will explain, okay? And then there's the happiness which is nectar in the beginning. If you have one sweet, right, will you be okay, happy? What if you have 100 sweets? That's too much, right? So it's nectar in the beginning, but if you have too many gulab jamuns, it's going to be poison in the end. So something that's enjoyable right at the beginning, enjoying our senses, drinking, smoking, whatever, is going to cause us harm in the end. And then there's the third type of happiness, which is delusion from the beginning to the end. Those who are perhaps used to drinking too much, they start drinking again, they're not happy. By the end of the bottle, they're still not happy. Complete craziness. So three types of happiness. We want that happiness, which is everlasting. Might be poison in the beginning, but it turns into happiness. So austerity is no intoxications, no drugs. We even try to avoid caffeine, tea and coffee. Why? I'll give you an example of my mother. If she didn't have a cup of tea in the morning, she'd have a headache. Who's familiar with that? Avoid any addiction. Any addiction. We should not be addicted to anything. We can leave anything. No problem. $262. Oh yeah.
In terms of addiction, do you mean just like food or also emotional?
Emotional as well, yeah.
Relationship.
Relationship is a little different, but you're right. And too much attachment to somebody, very dangerous. But that doesn't come under austerity. That comes in a different category. Who'd like to read this? Yes.
While contemplating the objects of sense, a person develops attachment to them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises.
Right. So eventually, addiction, it comes from looking at something, but it turns into frustration because it never satisfies, and that turns into anger. So that's why we avoid any addiction. Yes.
If you spend too much time on anything or lecture, you might wish you would get blind.
Wow. Is this from experience you're talking, huh? Has it happened to you? So another thing, addiction is wasting time on, we've been here before, TV, television games, mobile games. Try to restrict the amount of time you spend. I think 2 minutes is good. I like this boy. 2 minutes, right? You said 2 minutes. Did you say 2 minutes is too much? Looking at electric bill. Did you say 2 minutes? Then? Too many. Anyway, so try to reduce that. Don't waste time. It won't help you. And if you're addicted to it, that's not good sign. Not from a young age like yours. Okay, culture. We'll be quick. Always be positive and steady. Always be positive. Even the worst thing comes, oh, I've lost my, house. Just be positive. Because it's perhaps meant to happen. God will never do anything that is not good for you. And the soul is by nature always Satchit Anand, happy, eternal, and full of knowledge. So we try to be on the level of the soul. Always be positive and steady. Anybody want to read that?
Some can be the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from the sense perception. O Sai and O Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Very good. Don't be disturbed. Happiness, distress will come. Winter and summer comes. Winter comes and summer comes. Unhappiness is there. Let it pass. Be steady. One of our strongest cultures is we are very strong in prayer. We have faith. We have faith in the Lord. Hang on to that faith. That's very, very strong part of our culture. And worship the Lord. And I wanted to very quickly show you how we do one-packet worship. Have a giving attitude. Then a taking attitude. I want to give. You see, if you're always expecting things, you're always expecting somebody to give you a gift, always expecting somebody to respect you, always expecting somebody to love you, you might get very disappointed. But if you have a giving attitude, I want to give a gift, I want to give respect, I want to give love, nobody can stop you. Isn't it? Nobody can stop you. That's right, rather than taking. You just want to give. So if you share all your toys, you'll be happy. Okay, you might cry a little bit, but your happiness is derived from the happiness of others. Always be respectful. Matri Devabhava is such an important part of our culture. Mother is the first guru. Mother is to be honored. Especially you too. Only joking. Mother is to be honored. You can touch her feet anytime you want. Mother is very kind, very compassionate. And the ultimate mother is Radharani, who's our favorite. Pitri Devabhava. Father is also to be respected. He comes after mother. Krish, mother first. Then dad. Acharya Devabhava, those who are gurus, teachers, to be respected, no matter what. Atithi Devabhava, those guests who come, unwelcomed, you treat them like God. Welcome them. Even they may be your worst enemy, but they should feel like they're your best friend in your house. There's 7 types of mothers. One our natural mother. Anybody else? Any other mother?
River?
Earth, yes, excellent. Earth, yes. Definitely. Mother Nature, yes. That's the same as Earth. Yeah. Good. Cow. Cow. You remember that, okay, young man? Cow is your mother. Because she gives milk. We drink the milk. The Brahman's wife, the king's wife, and the guru's wife. They're all mothers. Why? Because they're very compassionate and kind. They're treated like mother. Caring for parents and grandparents. That's a very strong part of our culture. You see, in this Western culture, the parents are abandoned. Children go and don't care. But in our Indian culture, Sanathana Dharma, parents are looked after. They're cared for. They're the source of blessings. Their blessings are very powerful, very protective. Okay, very quickly. Other values or qualities to develop. Humility, never boast. I won a tournament. Don't bother. Because ultimately, everything is done by the Supreme Lord. Ultimately. That's okay, let him do this. I like it. I like it. Be polite. Appreciate others by sincere praise. Oh, you did so well. And you mean it. Try to control anger. 262, we've just read it anyway. Always learn. That's where we can improve our consciousness. And probably the last thing, failure is a pillar of success. So we may fail many, 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 many times. Never let it get us down. Failure is actually a foundation of success. Never get put off. We can't have everything in life. But these failures are actually good for us. It makes us less proud.
No, thing is that failures are failures. If you keep on trying, one day it will be success.
Yeah.
So that's how we should see.
Some of the greatest sportsmen, that's their motto. Keep trying, don't worry. That's it. Fuji workshops, hopefully, well, now, when do we want to do next time?
Can we have round the table?
Yes.
People
Was that-
prefer 10 to
Yes.
1, 11 to 12 or 11 to 1. Then we go with the majority.
Yeah. So, who prefers the timing that we had today? I know, sorry, I didn't inform you. 10 to 12 or 11 to 1?
So you just lift hands.
And
Just
so-
lift hands, then that's
11
the
to
best.
1? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10,
Only 2 options.
12. Okay, who wants 10 to 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have time. What was it? What was that? Okay, more people for 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Well, if it was 10 to 12, those who are gearing, I don't want to lose anybody because.
Why not half
Oh,
10?
half 10.
Yeah, that's more best.
Half 10 to half 12.
Okay, then we have a deal. We have a deal.
And I really appreciate so many people came on time. And no, it's my fault, I should have told you to, so I forgot.
Is everyone okay? 10:30 is fine.
No, with it. Next week I was thinking Ishwar. How do we know that God is present? How can we prove it to ourselves so that we become stronger in our faith? And then Prakriti, cycle of time. And that was it. Now, if you want a copy of those slides, you can just give us your WhatsApp address, WhatsApp number, and we'll do a group where we'll post the slides. So you've got it, because I couldn't get copies. So we'll try to just do it that way.